What is going on, Alpha Hunters? Hope everybody is having a wonderful Hump Day Wednesday. All right, I got it right today, not like yesterday. Yeah, nice day on the market. Yeah, there you go. First flat open, sold down the first 30 minutes. Had a nice little basing action then for a couple hours. Like 2.5, almost 3 hours. Then here over the past hour, we've tried to push higher. Will we continue to push higher as we go into the last 2 hours of the trading day for the close? You're not going to get me to say that we're going to reverse and turn lower, although the market is literally doing that right now. No, I'm kidding. It's not really doing it. I mean, if we break these lows and hold under, the lows that we had over the past hour, like for 10 to 15 minutes, yeah, we'll probably maybe we see some selling continue to come back in, but honestly, I wouldn't be looking to do trade it that way. I guess in the afternoon. That's just kind of my opinion. I mean, it looks like to me we'll probably just continue kind of slow grind higher. And that's how the SPY looks. The Qs are the big movers. Kind of like dominant yesterday. The Qs were. They're dominant again today. Qs are down. They gap down about 1/4%. You can see they traded lower their first 30 minutes. The SPY wasn't really moving all that much. The SPY even gapped up. Think about that. The SPY gapped up. The Q's gapped down 1/4%. That's. I don't know if we've seen that one in a while. That one's not. That doesn't happen normally. That's a. I mean, I get it's pretty small, but that one doesn't happen normally. Anyways, the SPY did trade down to a low of 0.2% on the day. And so yeah, I mean, it just kind of tells you just how weak the Qs have been. The Qs got down to 1% on the day, and that was a little bit after 2 hours into the trading day. So, you know, it we continue to see this rotation on the market. We can look a little bit more at that later, but we're continuing to see it outside of like one days like Qs rallied pretty hard. We continue to see rotation kind of out of the Qs, and yeah, there you go. Anyways, Qs down a little bit less than 0.5% right now. IWM kind of a flat open. Nice little pop there in the first 5 minutes, but we haven't really done too much since. Just kind of been choppy throughout the day, but basically about the same levels where we ended that first 5 minutes. Okay, the DIA gapped up, pulled back, push kind of grindy higher up until about 30 minutes ago, and then we had a nice little pullback. And that's kind of where we are, but it's been kind of grindy, choppy for the past several hours. RSP kind of grindy sideways. Look at that. Nice little pump here the first 20 minutes, but really hasn't done a whole lot since. It's been just chopping sideways throughout the day. Okay. So there you go. All right. That's just how things are going on the intraday. Yeah, RSP continuing just to kind of grind down higher, looking pretty good there. RSP is up about 1/4%. DIA is up about 1/3% here. DIA looking pretty good. Okay, IWM, nice little bounce action. Yeah, looking pretty good. I think we kind of talked about that yesterday. I'd rather be bullish here on the IWM, kind of where it was yesterday, than not. But if we kind of broke through that 20 EMA, then that might change some things. I like it. Continue to be bullish there. Obviously, we know we got up to we tried to break through that 208 level last week, and we had a pullback. This looks pretty good. If we can kind of run up into that area again, I think we probably will have that breakthrough moment on the IWM. Speaking of breakthrough moments, not making new highs anymore. It's Qs. Qs down 0.5%. I mean, we could be having a flag pattern type moment here, just resting. So, till we break some of the lows of the past couple of weeks, I'm not interested in being bearish on it. Just might be resting. Same deal. I mean, and this is kind of going with the SPY. You know, SPY is grinding higher, looking pretty solid. Doesn't look like it's ready to break down. Not as bad as the Qs. Qs look like they could be ready to break down, but I wouldn't want to take that bet until they actually show that they're going to break down. But yeah, SPY pretty much flat on the day, doing okay. That's kind of how things are going. It's kind of how things are going. Take a look at the VIX. The VIX basically flat, not really doing a whole lot. Okay, dollar had a pretty strong day. Let me go to an hourly. Okay, pretty strong day yesterday in the morning. Just kind of faded back down over the past several days. Whenever we've had these pops, we've kind of had some consolidation out to the side, and we've had pops here over the past several days. Basically, we stopped doing that today. So we did wind up breaking down in the early parts of the morning on the dollar. You can see just kind of just continue to break down. So as for now, I mean, it might just be in a sideways consolidation, or you're probably just looking to be bearish on it. Either way, and the reason why I say that is just because, I mean, we did have some pretty good breakdowns. I think I kind of mentioned that yesterday. It's like not a bad spot to go bearish, but I don't know if I did mention that. But I mean, these two breakdown days that we did have, Wednesday, Thursday, was last week. Last week, Wednesday, Thursday was kind of they were brutal breakdowns. So, anyways, it's either not a bad spot on yesterday's bounce to go bearish. I think we did mention that. Yeah, I think we did talk about that. Or you're just like looking for the consolidation. If you think the dollar will probably, you're just looking for some of the consolidation, looking for it to kind of compress before maybe it breaks through the moving averages. So right now, I'd just be willing to give it a little bit more time, see what kind of happens. GLD, nice move here on gold, GLD area, looking pretty good. Okay, 10-year yield. All right, talk about it, man. Yields, getting through the moving averages today. We'll see if it holds. 10-year yield looking decent right now. It's up 0.8% on the day. So, it doesn't look horrible. We're kind of coming into these resistances where we kind of had this top back over here in January. We kind of had this little wick lower here back on February 15th. We kind of had like some of these lows also through late February. So also had this spot where we stopped right here from this kind of downtrend that we had to start the month of March, right there on March 1st. So it's not a bad spot to say, hey, that would be the spot you potentially want to be maybe bearish, I guess, on yield. So that'd be bullish on bonds. Kind of talked about that yesterday. I would have rather waited. Maybe see how things kind of play out. But the thing is, excuse me, the thing is, and it's definitely a lot more visible on the 30-year yield, we still just have higher highs and higher lows. And, I mean, all we kind of did over the past couple of weeks is we just kind of came down, checked the lower end of this kind of area. So if we take a look at the 30-year yield, I mean, checked right into that 30-year yield, looking pretty good. So if we run up here on yields, especially like the longer term, the 30-year, yeah, I'd imagine people are gonna have start to pay attention to yields at that point in time. Let me go to the 2-year yield real quick. So the 2-year yield bouncing pretty good today as well. Yeah, I mean, the only thing I could say here on yields for right now is, I mean, we just still have higher lows, higher highs, that we haven't really broken kind of this channel. Even if I kind of say duplicate this, there we go. So we kind of got some kind of like channel like this. So right now we're kind of at the lower end of the yield channel that we're kind of been in. And not saying we'll make it back up to the upper ends of this channel, but if we do, yeah, I mean, people will be talking a lot more about yields, and that would be one where I don't think the market could ignore anymore the levels that yields would probably get into, because the 10-year would probably be up around the 4.5 area if we got back up to that type of level, or the upper end of that channel is. Anyways, moving on from yields, 10-2 inversion, kind of just hanging out. Maybe it starts to really kind of base here as it's been in this down channel, so maybe this is basing here or starting to base in this area. We'll have to see. I mean, it's possible. It's possible. Okay. HYG. This is an interesting one. I did not expect to see that. Yields are up, but bonds are up. That one doesn't smell right. So yields are up, bonds are up. That's interesting. Trying to think on how what that kind of means. Like people are just buying bonds. Okay, I mean that's all basically all that means is people are seeing that yields are going higher, but people are still buying bonds. LQD kind of just hanging out today, kind of just big hangout day. TLT, yeah, so TLT a little bit more directed tied to the yields, you know, the 10, the 30, that kind of stuff. So you can see the TLT definitely down a little bit today. I would, that's kind of a tough one to call. I don't understand why the HYG and the LQD are holding strong today. I don't really understand that one, but they are. It is what it is. I mean, I guess that all that means really is the LQD and HYG type bonds they're getting bought today is what that means. So, yeah, we'll see what happens here with the TLT and yields as we go on to the latter parts of this week. But there isn't major. I mean, we get PPI information tomorrow morning. That's about the last one that's going to be really impactful for yields. So, yeah, I mean, maybe we'll see yields reverse and drop from how they've been to start the week, and we'll see bonds continue to rally as we go into the end part of the week this week. All right, taking a look here at sector rotation. We got the XLK, which makes perfect sense because the Qs are getting hit pretty good today. Definitely struggle bussing. XLK struggle bussing, giving back a lot of what they did yesterday. They did have a pretty good day yesterday. Healthcare also underperforming really over the past about an hour, 30 minutes, about past 30 minutes. And then we got real estate, kind of just barely outperforming there. Staples, healthcare, communications, industrials, financial utilities, materials, and energies coming to life. Man, energy's actually doing pretty good, up to about 2% today. Wow. All right. So intraday price action. Energy's had a pretty good gap. They're not doing as well intraday, but they're doing pretty good on the day. So we have to take a look at maybe there's some energy stuff moving. Materials doing pretty good. They had a nice little mid-morning rally there on materials. Communications doing good. Financials, industrials, discretionaries. Okay. Real estate, staples, they're kind of in line with the market. Tech, utilities, and healthcare have all kind of underperformed their intraday. Okay. So tech had a pretty decent gap down because they're not getting hit as hard. And then energies had a pretty decent gap up. So crude is bouncing pretty good today. Okay. It wasn't looking good yesterday. I don't know what happened. I mean, we had a pretty good gap up. What the heck? Typically, the futures contracts don't gap up. What happened? Spot buyback. Yep, don't care. Crude prices rally on EIA report and Ukrainian strikes on Russian refineries. Okay. Ukraine trying to hit Russia in the infrastructure area. So there you go. So crude oil. We'll see if that's a long-lasting push. But yeah, I mean it's a nice day there on crude oil. Gasoline is looking really good, man. Man, that is looking really good. Heating oil also looking pretty good there. Also basing action on heating oil. Wonder how this where is this? How is this thing doing? Oh, I would absolutely take this trade off the table. So I'm gonna update idea. We have not we, but RB heating oil relationship has normalized. Time to take the trade off the table. There we go. So I'll update this idea. Boom. So this is a pretty solid one where bearish. Let me refresh this. I forgot where it was. So it got down to 1.0267. That's kind of where it is now. Where put this on, it was at 1.3259. So if you would have done this trade, I mean, it's roughly like a 30% gain because it dropped down to 1.02. So yeah, I mean, about a 30% gain. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty solid. That's where you kind of want it to be. Whenever you get something like this that's outside the norm, you just take the trade back to the norm. Looking pretty good though. Yeah, it's dunzos for now. It is dunzos.